All right, we're going to be taking a look at the Seattle Seahawks and their 2022 schedule and their opponent breakdown and analysis.
Seahawks today, powered by Jet Sports, coming up in just a few moments with a complete breakdown of the Seahawks 2022 schedule. But before we do, we want to hear from you guys. Tell us what you think the Seahawks record will be this season in the comments below. How many wins? How many losses? Will there be a tie? Let me know how you think the Seahawks will do in 2022. It's our pinned comment. Put your comment there, how you think this season's going to go for the Seahawks. Tyler Jones here with you. Appreciate you joining us. The Seahawks schedule is out. The Seahawks now know their opponents for the 2022 campaign. Let's go ahead and tell you all about it. It all gets started with a bang week one as Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos take on the Seahawks on Monday Night Football, as Russ will not be waiting very long to make his return to.
Wow, Commissioner Roger Goodell didn't set that up himself, then I'm flabbergasted. What are the odds? Wow. I'm giving that to Denver. But let me go ahead and let them speak. But that's Seahawks starting up 0-1. Let's just be honest on Monday Night Football.
To Seattle. It is also the first Monday Night Football game for Joe Buck and Troy Aikman on ESPN as well. So a very high-profile matchup to get the season started for the Seahawks in what is maybe the most anticipating game of the entire season right off the jump. Week two, it's a divisional matchup on the road at the San Francisco 49ers, followed by a week three matchup back at home against the Atlanta Falcons. And then week four, the Seahawks travel to Detroit to take on Jared Goff and the Lions. Then on week five, the Seahawks will take on the New Orleans Saints on the road, followed by a home matchup week six against the division rival Arizona Cardinals. Week seven, the Seahawks go to a familiar building, SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, but to take on the Chargers in that matchup. Then week eight, the Seahawks will come back home to take on the New York Football Giants. Then week nine, a road trip to Arizona to take on the Arizona Cardinals. Week 10, the Seahawks head across the pond as they will face Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. An early kickoff at 6:30 a.m. Pacific time in Munich, Germany. And after that long road trip, they will take a bye week and follow that up with a week 12 matchup against the Las Vegas Raiders. Then week 13, the Seahawks make their second trip of the year to SoFi Stadium to take on the defending Super Bowl champion Los Angeles Rams. Week 14 is a matchup at home against the Carolina Panthers. And then week 15, another primetime game, just one of two primetime games for the Seahawks in 2022 as they take on the San Francisco 49ers exclusively on Amazon's Thursday Night Football. Then on week 16, it is a trip to Kansas City to take on Patrick Mahomes in the Kansas City Chiefs. Week 17, they will host the New York Jets, and then they will wrap up the regular season.
This just something I just wanted to just say really quick, but I'm curious how Kansas City's offense will do with no Tyreek Hill now, because him going to Miami. We'll just wait and see. I'm sorry for interrupting again, but just something that crossed my mind.
Season on week 18 with a home matchup against the Los Angeles Rams, as everybody in the NFL will be taking on divisional opponents. More on the schedule in just a moment. Before we do, we want to make sure that you are subscribed to Seahawks Today. We are bringing you daily Seahawks videos, and the more subscribers we have, the more content we can give you. We are on track to get to 27,000 subscribers, but we need your help. We're about 496 subscribers away. So subscribe now, youtube.com/Seahawks TV, and turn those notifications on. We're going to bring you Seahawks coverage that's 100% free.
Sub.
News, rumors, breaking news, draft, free agency coverage. It's all right here. Never miss a moment of Seahawks Today by Chat Sports. How would you like to report a 2-to-1 return on ad spend? Be like John. He's a digital marketer at a large
Just off
furniture
looking at their
retailer.
schedule,
His company advertises
they
with Google
it
Ads
did
to
not.
reach new customers
It's not an
across.
easy schedule. I mean, they played the Cardinals twice. They played the Niners twice. They played the Rams. They played the Bucks in Germany. It's not going to be an easy year for Seattle,
So now,
especially the adjustment with no Russell Wilson. I mean, I'm not even sure if they're going to start Geno Smith or if they're going to start Drew Lock. I mean, and I know their offensive coordinator Shane Waldron is gonna he's gonna I'm not sure how he's even gonna approach this new offensive strategy without Russell Wilson, because it seems like Seattle's whole offense was built around Russell Wilson. So like taking him out of the equation, I'm not sure where that leaves Seattle's offense anymore. And I mean Seattle, like they have a lot of like different pieces. I don't remember who all they got in the draft this year, but I know that they do have like some missing pieces. I know like they did release Kerry Hyder Jr. and it's just going to be an adjustment for Seattle. I'm my expectations as a Seattle fan are not that high for this season. Maybe next season or the following one, maybe they'll be back in the playoffs. But this year, they're off. Just their start on Monday Night Football is not going to be. I don't see it favoring them. I don't see them off to a strong start. Right after playing Denver, they're going to have to go play San Francisco, and we know what kind of ball they do. So it we're just gonna have to wait and see. But my expectations for Seattle, just after viewing their schedule this year, I'm gonna have to say I would like to maybe say 6-11, possibly 6-11, maybe 7-10. But do I see them clinching the playoffs or even making the wild card? That's it just seems unlikely to me this year. And I love Pete Carroll. Like I love everything about Seattle, but I this year I'm seeing them probably having to figure out a new plan. Figure out, is Geno Smith going to work for them or is Drew Lock going to work for them? Because I mean, I know both of them have subbed and played when Russell suffered numerous injuries, but to actually have them trying to lead the team, it's just we're gonna have to wait and see. But I'm not. My expectations for Seattle are not sky high this year, unfortunately. And I love the Seahawks. Like, and it seems like for years they've been a playoff competitive team, but this last year just seems like they really fell apart. So we're gonna have to wait and see what happens. But we know that they're out there in the NFC West, and that's a very tough, that is a very, very, very competitive like section of the NFL. We know that bracket of teams. They got the Niners, they got the defending Super Bowl champions, the Los Angeles Rams. They also got the Cardinals, and all three of them were playoff contenders last year. So just that division itself, that's a bracket of teams that are top notch. Like, but I digress anyway. Yeah, just I'm hoping the best for Seattle this year, but it's not seeming like things are going to go in their favor, especially with this schedule. I mean, there are a few games I'm hoping they'll win, which last year again we seen them some games where they should have dominated, but they didn't. Some games maybe where they just lost by a field goal. So we're really going to have to see what their offensive strategy is this year, especially with no Russell Wilson.
now we go back and look at that schedule, and obviously it jumps off the page that you play Denver week 1 right out of the gate. And, I think we all had this game circled to begin with, and now the fact that you're not going to wait long, it's going to be an emotional night for folks to see Russell Wilson without any hesitation put on that other uniform, to be walking.
Wow, and the game is in Seattle. Wow. Wow, that's going to be, as a Seattle fan, I would hate to actually be at that game. That's going to be a lot to take in.
Through the visitors' tunnel on to Lumen Field. That is going to be wild, folks. And both teams coming off 7-10 seasons, but I think they feel a lot different about the directions of both of these franchises heading into 2022. A Denver team that's very optimistic that now has their franchise quarterback and they're looking to make a playoff push. Well, the Seahawks are at this point in time in rebuild mode of trying to figure out who they are. And I got to
Absolutely.
tell you, when I look at that game, although you may say on paper Denver overmatches Seattle, I bet you that the Seahawks are going to play with a lot of hearts and a lot of passion to try to get one on Russ. And not to mention, for Drew Lock, who could be starting that game as well as Noah Fant, I'm sure those guys want to make a statement as well, taking on their former team who traded them off in that Russell Wilson deal. An exciting night to open up the season, the Seahawks and the Broncos on Monday Night Football. Now, prediction time. Tell me in the comment section. Will it be the Seahawks? Will it be the Broncos? Who wins that Week 1 matchup? Type S for the Seahawks. Type B for the Broncos. Let your voice be heard. You're going to get an ad break. Take advantage of it. While that ad's playing, get your votes in of who you think wins the Week 1 battle between the Seahawks and the Broncos. Now, the rest of the schedule, going through this for the Seahawks here. The Niners is going to be interesting. That will probably be Trey Lance starting for the Niners, and you'll get a good look right away to see how much further he's come along for San Francisco, his second year there with that team. Week 3 against Atlanta, they're certainly a lot different than what they were a year ago with Matt Ryan gone now. Marcus Mariota likely to start that game.
So yeah, again, just I don't mean to interject him, but yeah, week 3. See, now that's a game where you can give to the Seahawks because with no Matt Ryan, they're also going to be they're going to be rebuilding the team, trying to figure out new offensive strategy. So there's a game. That's one. I'm going to put one right there. Let's keep track of what we believe Seattle will win. And week 4, I'm not even going to interject when he talks about the Lions because I just seen like the changes Detroit is making, and I believe this year Detroit, if not this year, by next year, Detroit might be a powerhouse.
Detroit, I think you can chalk that up as a win. You feel pretty good taking on that lowly Detroit Lions team. And you move to the next part. The Saints, that's a toss-up game. The Cardinals are going to be very good. Then you play the Chargers, who are also going to be a very good team. And then
Do we see the Seattle? Do we see Seattle over the Saints? Do we see the Seahawks? Because we like last year when they played in the regular season, we seen the Saints. It was a pretty even matched game, and we seen the Saints come away with the win only because of a field goal. So how will that play out this year? The with Arizona, I would love to see Seattle get a victory, but I we're not gonna. Let's be realistic here.
the Giants, that's a toss-up game as well. So not an easy start to
Yeah, as I said before, seems like a difficult season. The Giants, it could go either way, but it's depending on who's at quarterback, and it's depending just on like how the Seahawks momentum is going at this point of the season. But um, I would like to think they could. I would like to think they can overpower the Giants. I would like to think that Seattle versus the Giants would go in Seattle's favor. New York is a very, very I don't want to say they're an undeveloped team, but there's still a lot of pieces there that are not connected. And I believe that's my opinion. I think Seattle over New York.
the first 8 weeks of the season for the Seattle Seahawks. More of the schedule in just a bit, but before we do, I want to tell you about our friends at Bet Do It episode. $5 the Seahawks at plus 1,200. Their odds to win the division. The Rams at plus 125.
Oh, so the Seahawks, they're the least favorite to win their division. So Seattle has something to prove.
San Francisco plus 185, and Arizona at plus 300 there. The rest of the schedule, the way it shakes out for the Seahawks, you get the second game against Arizona on the road, and then that game in Germany against the Buccaneers. This very well could be the very last time ever that the Seattle Seahawks take on Tom Brady and the Bucs. And so, if there was a game to travel to, if money's not an issue of some sorts, that's the one. You get to go to Germany and you get to see Tom Brady. Side.
Yeah, I got to commend Tom Brady because we know he retired, but for him to come back and play another season, got to commend him. I'm not sure what he'll be working with all the way. I'm gonna do a deeper dive in the Buccaneers, another one of my videos. But got to give Brady his props. I know he's 43, I believe. So for him to still be playing at that kind of a competitive speed, for him to still be keeping up with guys in their 20s, that's admirable. Got to give Brady his respect.
Sign me up. I need my bosses to send me out there, please. Maybe get the GoFundMe or something going to send me out there. That would be the game I would travel to if I had the choice. Much needed bye week after Germany. The Raiders, that was a playoff team last year. That should be a good contest week 12. Week
And yeah, again, we gotta if we look at the Raiders, I mean, they definitely, when it came to their playoff game in the wild card against the Cincinnati Bengals, they definitely contested them until the point where they enforced an overtime. Cincinnati won by a field goal. So the Raiders, again, that's gonna be another strong team that I'm just not sure Seattle at this point in time has what it takes to overpower.
week 13 on the road against the Rams is certainly going to be tough.
I mean, we really don't even need to take a look at the Rams because, I mean, I'm not a Matthew Stafford fan. Like I don't, Cooper Cup. He's okay, but I'm not a big fan of them. Is Odell Beckham still on their team? I'm not 100% sure about that. I know he had that injury last year and haven't heard much from him since. I haven't been keeping up with the Rams like I should, but I'll probably do a look into them as well. Let me know in the comment section if that's something you'd like to see Los Angeles Rams review. Let me know if there's any specific team or even just players overall that you'd like me to do a deep dive into because I would love to learn more about certain things.
Then you take on the Panthers. I think that's a toss-up game you could feel pretty good about. And then the Niners on Thursday Night Football. Obviously, the Niners would have it.
Yeah, that against the Panthers, possibly. I mean, Cam Newton's not what he used to be. Uh, Week 15 against the 49ers, like, they can surprise you. Debo Samuel is basically unstoppable. I don't want to say he's unstoppable, but does Seattle's defense have what it takes to slow them down? No. I personally don't believe so.
Have an edge, but the 12th man at home in prime time is going to be tough to deal with for anybody to do, let alone an arch rival like the Niners. Speaking of the Niners, the Rams, and the NFC West, who do you hate most from that division? Is it Arizona? Is it the Rams? Is it the
Yes.
49ers? Here's your chance to tell us.
It's the Rams. Like, come on, you guys. Come on. Like, I hate to like be judgmental, but I can't stand the Los Angeles Rams. I cannot stand them.
To diffuse some hate. We are encouraging it right now. Type C for the Cardinals, type R for the Rams, type 4 for the 49ers, and tell us who you despise the most from the NFC West. So you wrap up the season, not an easy finish to the year. On the road against Kansas City, who has been, I would say, the most consistent team in the National Football League the last few seasons.
That is true. I mean, every single season they're at least in the AFC Championship. I mean, they might not win, but it wouldn't surprise me if like Kansas City like went all the way again this year. But I am curious to see how their offense, like I said earlier, is going to function without Tariq Hill. I think Tariq Hill and you mix him with Tua Tagovailoa, I think that's like a really dominant force down there in Miami. I would like to see the Chiefs and the Dolphins go at it, but that's another video. We're focused on the Seahawks now. Sorry.
Arrowhead, a very tough place to play. I wouldn't want
Absolutely.
to go there week
Andy
17.
Reid?
Week 17, you take on the Jets, and then that divisional game against the Rams week 18. And realistically, I think you're hoping for that the Rams are in a position where they're resting their starters. Where if the Seahawks are contending for a playoff spot, I think your best case scenario is to hope that the Rams are in a position where they're not playing their best players, that they don't need them week 18. That would be ideal, but it remains to be seen. Before we go, one more time, comment section. Tell me right now, predict how this season will go for the Seahawks. I'm going to give you my prediction on the next video. Not today, folks. I want to hear from you first. How will this season go for the Seahawks? Here's a chance to weigh in. Give me the win-loss total. Maybe it's a tie that you have thrown in there as well. Whatever it is, tell me in the comment section your 2022 season prediction for your Seattle Seahawks.
All right, well, yeah, go ahead and subscribe to Seahawks Today by Chat Sports because that was amazing content. And like I said, me personally, I see Seattle going maybe 6-11 if we're lucky, 7-10. Like I said, there are a lot of games in there though. Like I don't see Seattle defeating Phoenix. I mean, sorry, not Phoenix. I don't see Seattle defeating Arizona at all. I don't see Seattle defeating. I mean, the 49ers game, like maybe one of them they could possibly get. The Buccaneers, where they go and face Tom Brady in Germany, that's not happening. Um, in that game against Los Angeles, it's all going to depend, like they said, if Los Angeles wants to play their star players or if Los Angeles already clinched the first spot in the NFC playoffs. So if they're the number one seed, then I mean, yeah, like Los Angeles probably won't even bat an eye. Like they're just going to take those 2 weeks off. They're going to let the wild card play out, and then they're going to go on into that second week and probably dominate. But I'm not even a Rams fan, but that's the only way Seattle is going to beat Los Angeles. But we're gonna have to wait and see what happens. But I am rooting for the Seahawks. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe. Let me know what you want me to talk about next in the comment section. Let me know what teams you want me to talk about. We're looking at any sports. It doesn't matter. Any team, any sport, any player. Comment below what you want me to look at next because I will do a deep dive and we will talk about everything. So again, if you enjoy this, like, subscribe, and let me know what you're talking about next in the comment section. It's everything sports, and we will talk soon.